Hey, coaches, welcome back to Football Talk with Coach Chip. I'm making my first video in about 2 weeks that have the graphics and been edited because I got a new computer. It's a long story. We won't get into it. Today we're going to talk about condition during the season and get better at football simultaneously. I mean, after all, what are we? And to paraphrase the late, great Bob Knight of the Indiana Hoosiers, what do I look like? A friggin' track coach? Don't forget, Football Talk with Coach Chip, the podcast. Released a new one this week. Matter of fact, this video goes along with the most recent podcast on scripting and bundling. In it, we talked about bundling plays where you put a group of 4 plays together and you're running bing, boom, 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 boom. It's like a mini script, MINI. And I talked about in the podcast about a drill you can do. And we're going to show you that drill a little bit later in the video, one that we kind of borrowed from Auburn. They did it, and they did it all the time just for their tempo practice. They even called it tempo, if I'm not mistaken. That's what we called it. And it's just a great way to end off practice offensively and get some conditioning in for your 1s and your 2s. And we're also going to talk about some defensive stuff you can do, pursuit drill, things like that. They're really good for conditioning, but at the same time, you're getting better at football. It's actually a football-specific activity. Go over on Spotify and Apple, and I'm sure it's on other podcast platforms as well. It's Football Talk with Coach Chip, the podcast. All right, offensive line manual. You're not going to believe this. Almost middle of the season, I sold a jet manual this week. The guy runs Jet. He didn't like what it was doing, and he'd been listening to or watching the videos. And he said, Coach, send me the jet manual. And so okay. And you don't see that much during the season. Usually if you do, it's because somebody's already doing it. Had another guy ask for the gap scheme, the OL manual for gap down backer, because they're a gap down backer team. These are great resources, great materials that can help you get better. And that's why I do that, to help you and your guys get better and to help you just get the most you can and let you be the best version of you can possibly be. That's why I do what I do. Also, stay tuned and check out the freebies that we give away. There's several things that we have here at Football Talk with Coach Chip that can help you. Here, even in the middle of the season, like this video today, I'm not trying to talk you into running anything new, but a way to maybe you can pare down the sprinting now that you're midway through the season, but you still want to do that. That's what we're going to talk about today. All right, let's talk about full team defensive pursuit drill. I'm going to show you a video, old school video of the Miami Hurricanes doing almost this exact same drill. We did it for years, won a couple of state championships doing it, 7 or 8 region titles. I think it was 6 in a row or 7 in a row, and plus another one before that run started. So it was 7 or 8 region titles, doing this every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every day during the summer. Yes, even during weightlifting time, we'd go out on the field, we would do this. Now, we also ran sprints during June and July, but this is just a practical way of staying in shape. You should already be in shape. And teaching the kids something that they need, their proper pursuit angles. And you can see ours, this is drawn up in a 3-3 stack, which is what we ran all those years that we were winning those titles, region and state championship. And we used cones. Usually the defensive coordinator at some point in the season, because I set the field up, especially toward the end, because I didn't have a teaching gig. I was just coaching. I was retired from the classroom, and I'd say, hey, what do you want? And usually about midway, about this time of year or getting close to the playoffs, I really can't remember. He'd say, Coach, don't put the cones out. He goes, they don't know by now, they ain't going to know. And sure enough, the kids would know. I quit using cones and started using the beanies that we put on there. That way they couldn't trip over anything, step on it, twist an ankle. Because we had been using those little short stubby cones. And I started throwing out those red beanies that we put on our scout team, which was real good. And they could, they step on them. It's no big deal. And this is just a great drill. The force guy, if your pursuit left, would go to this cone, which was right at or behind the line of scrimmage. the corner would come up to the next cone, and then you can see. And eventually, to begin with, it is a Chinese fire drill. No offense to Chinese fire departments near you, but they learned how to do it. Just like everything else. It's an 11-man drill, so you can imagine. And what we would do, we'd have a coach snap the ball. The defensive coordinator would call the snap count. The guy would snap the ball, 1, 2, 3, whatever. And they'd fire off into their gaps. He'd even call a stunt like slant left or whatever. And the kids would go to their responsibility. And then he'd say, hit it. And they'd do a belly flop. And you'll see when Miami did it, they did 2 belly flops. They do a belly flop, and they'd come up with those feet busy and buzzing, and then he would point in a direction, and we'd have cones on both sides. If you don't have the cones to do both sides, what you can do is always do it this way, and then once the kids do it one way, they just jog down here and then do it the other way. So you're getting it to the left, come down here and flip it, and then you're doing it to the right. And you have your next group ready to roll, and they jump right in. Like I said, you do this for 5 minutes with 2 groups. We did it usually with 2.5 groups. And we'd just fill in. And sometimes we'd have like a DB, lined up. We had extra DBs and didn't have another DN, put him here and just say, hey, you go to cone number 3. And just get the kids hustling to it. It's a great team activity. And it's great, like I said, conditioning. And it's also good, them learning their pursuit angles. That's a must. Let's go watch the video. All video clips are meant only for analysis, criticism, comment, teaching, and research by football coaches. We believe this is under the Copyright Act, Section 107 of the Fair Use Policy. All right, as I said, this is Miami Hurricanes. You can tell by the graininess of the picture and the shape of it, it's more square than rectangle. It's from back in the day. I'm not sure who was the head coach and the DC at that time. I found this video, and I couldn't find any of us doing it. We videoed practice, but practice video gets deleted, and we should have not done that, at least kept one of them, and that's my fault. But we did this, like I said, we started probably doing it, did a little bit from the very beginning, and we did different versions of it, and eventually after a few years, this became the version we settled on, and it's a great drill, and let's watch the Hurricanes do it. See, they just come off the ball, they're buzzing their feet, 2 belly flops, boom. He points that way. Watch, you can see little things on the sideline over here. They get to their spot. Everybody gets there. They blow the whistle. They sprint back. And what we did, we jogged back down the line and let the next group come on. Watch, they react to the ball. See, force man going to the first cone, second cone, third cone, backside corner all the way to the 11th cone right there. So that's a good drill. And you see, it's a lot of movement, but it's teaching them something to do with football. Guys, running 40s is fine, but they're not learning football. This is football movement. Running to the cone, learning to pursue the ball. Let me tell you something about pursuit. Some of the best defenses we had weren't good tackling teams, but they were pursuers. And so what would happen, that first guy would get there and miss the tackle, but hey, the cavalry's coming right behind him, and you got 11 screaming memes coming at your booty because they have been trained incessantly doing this pursuit drill literally every day of the summer that we met, every summer practice in August, and then 3 days a week, 5 minutes a day, they would do this drill. We'd get after your natural born T-Honey on defense, even when we weren't great tacklers, and won a lot of ball games. Because you can do all the tackling drills in the world you want, but if they're not great tacklers, they're terrible tacklers. You can make them good tacklers, but if they're terrible tacklers, you're not gonna make them great tacklers. But what you can do, you can teach those jokers to get after their butts and run to that football. All right, let's go look at some other stuff. Now, this next one is an offensive tempo drill. And we used to go over, and I talked about this in the podcast, we used to go over in the summertime early on when we were just getting started. Right, they would start before we would. And so we'd sneak over there every year for a couple of Saturdays or Sunday practices that they had early on, because it was just a 30-minute drive from the school. And we saw them doing this, and And we were in the process of doing a lot of similar things that they were doing. But we had the bundling that we did, grouping 4 plays together and running them as fast as we could and going fast when we wanted to go fast. But even if we didn't want to go fast, this is a great drill. We'd put the ball on the 40 going in, and we had coaches set up. And ideally, you're going to have 2 or 3 of the younger coaches that can run and get around. They're going to spot the ball, but you're going to spot the ball every 10 yards. So they're going to get 4 plays, and you give them 1 minute to complete it. So you do that, 4 are going to 60 15 times, so it's 15 seconds that they have. So, and it trains more than anything, it trains your linemen to pursue the football, to chase the ball, to get there and get lined up. And you'd see our kids, even when we were in regular tempo, running to the football, getting lined up, which is really good because even we're going regular tempo, just normal pace of play. The defense had to get set because they didn't know when we'd do it, because we would do this 2-3 times a game. Like I said, we'd pick our spots, and we'd do it when we felt like they were tired. We'd do it, just coming out of a timeout or of a break, start a quarter, and we would just, okay, let's go with this green bundle, red bundle, blue bundle. Hit me up, and I'll send you the article that I wrote on the bundling, and also go over to Spotify or Apple and check it out. And you can hear, me get into more detail and be more specific about this drill, about what bundling is. But what we would do, we'd put the ball, say left hash, the quarterback would call the plays because he had a wristband and it had the bundle on there. And we'd tell him, run the green bundle. So to say green bundle is, buck left or whatever. I put them in this formation for the heck of it. Say it's buck right. So they run buck right, and then they sprint to the 30. A coach has already spotted a ball. One coach is getting the ball. That teaches the ball carrier or the receiver to hand the ball to an adult. And that's one way. If you want to go fast, you don't want to flip it and have the guy miss it or have to chase it down. You take it to him. And so we'd practice that. And he'd give them the ball, and we'd run and get lined up. And the quarterback is in the process of calling the play even before they're lined up. As soon as everybody's set, we snap the ball. So the next play is jet left, and we run jet left, and then sprint to the 20. The ball's already there. Coach is already spotted. You need 2 or 3 balls and 2 or 3 coaches to help you out and spot it. Heck, I did it. Years ago, I would do this when we didn't have many coaches, and I'd be the one out there because the quarterback's calling the plays. And, you're shouting encouragement to them. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And more than anything, you're teaching your linemen to run to the ball. So what you're doing, just like on the pursuit drill, you're getting game intensity. Think about that. Nobody ever gets cramps in practice. They get cramps in a game. Why? Because the intensity picks up. And y'all know well as I do, kids aren't giving you their all when you're running 40s. They're running just enough to keep you off their butt. But if you give them something like this to do and say, get there, get there, get there, and these short, explosive sprints. So if you run the ball from here, let's say you blow the whistle at about the 35. Well, now everybody's got to stop, redirect, and run to the next ball. And so that's even more than a 10-yard sprint. You're running across the field. Then you run the play. They go through their play. If it's power, they're going to do their gap down backer and wrap and all that kind of good stuff. And then the whistle blows, and they're sprinting to the 20. You run the next play, they go through their steps, whistle blows, they sprint to the 10, run the 4th play, the quarterback's calling them because it's all on his wristband because you already got the wristband made up because you know what you were going to do as bundles before Monday practice ever started. And then you run a play and you score. So you're teaching them to finish drives, to go fast, pursuit of the ball. What we would do is circle up in here, the quarterback, any team leader or center would be in the middle, and they do 5 belly flops. We just did that for good measure. Then they jog out the field, jog down the line, get them a swallow of water, and wait for their next turn while the 2s went. And then we'd do it again. And we just do this. We were set up on 5-minute periods, and we'd do it for 5 minutes. And then we'd go on to it. Usually I like doing it at the end of practice or the end of the offensive time. We would do the tempo drill. We just say tempo, and they knew, go to the 40. Where's the ball, coach? There it is. Good. Here we go. And we're running it. This is the link. It's not a link. You can't click on it. It's just this is where you can find Auburn doing that drill. And they do it a little different than we do. It's not every 10 yards, and you'll see. I'm going to show you. Let's look at a video. I'll show it to you. All video clips contained on Football Talk with Coach Chip are meant for analysis, criticism, comment, teaching, and research by football coaches. We believe this falls under the fair use doctrine of the Copyright Act, Section 107. This video is courtesy of AL.com. They're the news leader in the state of Alabama. I think it stands for Alabama Live. They've been around for a long time, ever since the internet got big, and they do a whale of a job reporting news too, but sports are on top of that. You see, now watch them. Boom, they're getting set up. Look at the linemen doing their steps, finding the football. Looks like they're going about I think they're doing it random. So the ball's not even on the line right there. They're randomly doing it. Now, this is done totally for analysis, for critique, for instruction. And I'm using somebody else's video, and that's why I'm saying this is what's reasonable use of their video. But AL.com does a whale of a job. This video is probably, I forget his name. That's the big kid from Carver, Montgomery, playing quarterback. Jeremy, I can't remember. We got the belly flop idea from them. They scored. Watch, they're all going to come run together and circle up. They're not going to belly flop. And one time when we were over there, Coach Grimes was the OL coach, and he had them belly flopping in the end zone. And so that's where we got the idea to belly flop them. And like I said, we'd do 4 plays, put 1 minute on the clock. Somebody would, get their phone out and time it. And it would be 1 minute, 60 seconds in real time, not football time, from the time it starts. And they're on the clock, so you're getting great effort. Watch them. They're lining up. Quarterback's calling the play. Look, they're going through their steps. Boom. And I preferred handing it to the referee, but they didn't have a referee on the sideline. They just had managers out there. Good, going through their steps. The line is, skilled guys are running whatever the play was called. And I timed this one right here is like 5 or 6 plays, and they did it in 49 point something seconds. I timed it. I timed it on this video. We weren't there this day. We were there before this. We were there when Cam Newton was the quarterback in 2010. It's the first time I saw the drill run, I believe. See, now another group comes in. So they did it with 3 groups. Now, head on over on YouTube. It's AL.com. They've got a YouTube channel, but it's right here. But if you just type in Auburn tempo drill, this should come up. That's how I found it, because I didn't have the video. We didn't video that. They weren't allowed us to video the day we were, one of the many days we visited and watched them do this drill. But it's a great drill. It's a great no pad drill, but it's a great drill to do at the end of practice or at the end of the offensive time for conditioning, as well as, just practicing running plays real fast and teaching your linemen to get to the football. And there's other things you can do that are similar to that. All right, now this one I don't have any video on, and this is something we started doing just 3 years ago. I was trying to, I say the kids get bored doing the same stuff over and over again. The truth is Coach Chip does too. And so we came up with this to teach linemen to get down the field, another thing, on a pass, because you want to get as many guys to the ball as you can, even when you're on offense, because the receiver's out there fighting for yards. And so to make it as much like the tempo drill, we would run short routes, like a curl, flat kind of thing. And he would throw, and we'd do 2 centers and 2 quarterbacks. So you're getting the ball thrown here and the ball thrown here. Well, these guys are doing their pass set, the guard tackle, and the center. And they know they're going to sprint to this ball, to this guy when the whistle blows. And this group knows they're going to sprint to this guy when the whistle blows. Now, what we do on this, we kept it in the middle of the field, so there'd be good room on both sides, somewhere between the hashes. Didn't have to be exactly in the middle of the field, but it was just a way to get some conditioning in and actually do practical football stuff. And I just called it offensive chase the ball drill. And it teaches everybody to get to the football, because you got the guy that ran the curl, let's say. And as soon as he catches it, safety comes up and pops him. Corner now come running in there trying to strip it. And you want as many the good guys there as you can get. So in case they do knock it loose or pull it loose, you've got guys running the football too, because we just talked about in the beginning of the video about the defensive pursuit drill. They're pursuing to the ball. And I think that offensive coaches, we miss the boat sometimes not doing our own version of pursuit, getting guys to the ball. I mean, how many times have you seen your guy fumble down the field and your linemen are walking or whatever, going like, oh, I did my job. And the defense is hauling butt to get to it, and the ball's on the ground, and there's no good guys there to get it. So this is a great way to teach your guys to chase the ball. That's what I call it, because you're not pursuing it like the defense, because the defense, they don't run to the ball. They run to a spot, and the ball makes it there. That's pursuit. You don't want to teach defensive guys to chase, but your offensive guys need to chase the ball. Go to where the ball is. Get your butt downfield. This is a great way to teach them that. And it's a great way to get them in shape. And also you're teaching your linemen to get there. Because if you're going to go up tempo, and you don't have to, you don't run these drills thinking like these are up tempo drills. No, they're conditioning drills that you're actually running football plays. And you can run your quick game out of it if you want to. Like you run, slant with an out. You can run curl flat. I didn't like doing it with deep balls like post and fades, because you run out of room. You do it this way, you can do one every 10 yards. And if the guy catches it at 8 and turns up for 12 and the whistle blows, that's fine. You're still marking the ball 10 yards up. Everybody's got to run to the ball. The benefit of running to the ball, if I haven't mentioned it already, now you're putting the defense under duress. Wait a minute, they're getting lined up. So you may get a vanilla call from their DC because they think you're about to snap the cockeyed thing. All right, that's it for this episode of Football Talk with Coach Chip. Don't forget, go ahead and click on like right now. Go ahead and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. You subscribe, your job is done. All you got to do is watch these videos. And it really helps me out. And share the video with your friends. Hey, here's some freebies. I got the scouting and prepping for your next opponent. Do you have a system and a plan? I've got a great way that you can do that. I'll send it to you free. Just ask for it. We got the practice schedule. It's free. And we've got the call sheet. It's free. All right. If you want to deep dive any of this, contact me. We can Zoom. We can talk on the phone. Hit me up at siegel.chip@gmail.com. If you're so inclined, buymeacoffee.com/Coach Chip. Buy me a coffee. They'll give you the options there. I think they're like $5. If you want to just say, hey, that's a good, I've been watching these videos for 3-4 years, and I'm gonna give the old guy something. I'm gonna buy him a cup of coffee. By the way, I don't drink coffee, but I'll buy something to drink with it. Promise. All right, this is another freebie thing we talked about. This is the practice schedule, and this is the call sheet. Here's a list of the freebies. There's some others that aren't on here. I just sent one off today. A guy wanted some wing tee under center stuff right there, under center belly, under center jet and down package. We got that stuff, man. All you got to do is ask and be a subscriber. All right, that's it for this episode. Please, again, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget, I've got coming out in the football season, probably after Thanksgiving, the complete system. It's going to have everything. I'm working on it now. I took about a week and a half off because my computer was down. I got to get busy so it'll be ready for some of y'all that want it as soon as the season's over. Hey, until next time, be elite. All video clips contained on Football Talk with Coach Chip are meant for analysis, criticism, comment, teaching, and research by football coaches. We believe this falls under the fair use doctrine of the Copyright Act, Section 107.